Hello, my name is Barbara Rogers, and I have been a member of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses since 2008. I came in and I immediately was appointed chairman of the Community Outreach Committee, and I loved that job. I simply loved being a community worker. At that time, we did not have the Affordable Care Act. So every time we went out into the community to do blood pressures or to do diabetic glucose testing, we would always wind up sending someone to the emergency room. We were needed in our community. And so with that love of being the community outreach chair, when we had an election 2 years later, I was nominated and won the position of president of the council. And I have to say that my greatest moment in my whole nursing career was when I met Kathleen Sabalis, who was head of the Department of Health and Human Services. At that time, President Obama was trying to get through the Affordable Care Act, and I love the part the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses played in that. I worked with Carol Rowe, who was an American Nurses advocate, and we were selected to host the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. And we had a long program where we had women who came and told of all of the needs that they had for more health care. And so with Carol, and with my outreach committee, we were responsible for writing letters. We had conferences, and we also utilized the nurses newsletter, where we wrote every registered nurse in the city, in the state of Ohio, about the wonderful things that the Affordable Care Act would do. And I'm happy to say that I have been chairman long enough to see that the long lines that were waiting to be screened by the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses has just about disappeared, because with the expansion of Medicaid, most of the people in Ohio have some type of insurance. And I'm so happy for the role the Cleveland Council played and for the particular role that I played. I am also happy that I was able to hold the membership together during a challenge when we were threatened to break apart. And with the help of God, we were able to remain a strong, viable organization, henceforth and forever known as the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses.
My name is Claudia Settle, and I've been a registered nurse since 1975. I started as a diploma nurse, and then I worked at St. Luke's before it closed, and then went to the University of Akron and got my bachelor's degree. while I was working at St. Vincent as a nursing supervisor. I'm thankful for the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses who gave support and encouragement through working in the many seminars and different events that we had that kept us current and up to date. And I'm thankful for our president, Stephanie Doyle, for her encouragement and her love. And encouragement to continue to grow in our endeavors to be a better nurse, to address the needs of the community, as well as those working in the hospital, those at home care, that we can do and show ourselves to be worthy of becoming called an RN, a registered nurse who cares about the people that they serve. We are servants first, but first we need to be knowledgeable about what we're serving, who we're serving. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity to care for those that are in need and to hopefully provide for them a better lifestyle, that they're able to, hopefully our goal is for them to care for themselves. But if they can't, then we assist them in the needs that they have. And so the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses has provided different events for the community, different educational events for those who are seeking help to care for their loved ones at home or in the hospital, and I'm thankful for that opportunity. I'm also thankful for my mom. Her name is Catherine Hand, and she was an LPN, and she absolutely loved Cleveland Council of Black Nurses. She couldn't wait to get to the meetings, and she just loved the fellowship and the outreach. And so I would say accolades to her. She passed 2 years ago, but she's in our thoughts and our hearts and our mind.
My name is Gloria Diane Tolliver, and I was a former nursing professor at Cuyahoga Community College, and I was introduced into CCBN by Mrs. Alice Battle. I won't say that she coerced me, but she did insist and she did encourage. And I've never, ever regretted joining CCBN. CCBN has had an impact on my life, as well as me being able to impact other lives, such as my students. CCBN also encouraged me to tutor, which I love to do. And our Council of Black Nurses, they brought them all together. We were able to sit down and give back, which I think is so important, to give back to others what you have received. If you did something for free, and you did it from your heart, that it will go a long ways. And then that way, students, when you have them, if they feel that they're in a comfortable position, they'll learn so much more. I've had the privilege and the honor of knowing our president, but she was a former student of mine, and now she's president. When I help someone from my heart, and the bottom of that is CCBN, I see students going far beyond where I ever dream of going. And that's my reward for joining CCBN. And it's nothing like being sick in a hospital and looking up and someone's taking care of your loved one and they walk in a room and there they are, Mrs. Tolliver. Well, had not CCBN stepped in and said, come on, Dee, that being Miss Alice Battles, you can help out around here. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this or not. And I found out that I could, and that God had given me a gift, and that gift was to be used as a gift. And every time I think of any of my students, former students included, I smile. I said, thank God I played a small part in their lives. So thank you, Alice Battle. Thank you, CCBN.
Good afternoon. My name is Lavinia Lewis. I'm a former president of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, and it's a delight to be here today.
How many years have you been a member of Cleveland Council of Black Nurses?
I've been a member of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses for about 22 years. I came to the council as a licensed, just shortly past being a licensed practical nurse and a social worker, and I was looking for nurses that was doing phenomenal things, and I found the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses here in the city of Cleveland.
Okay. And thank you. We are so honored to have you as a member, that's for sure. Now, how do you feel about CCBN as a whole, and even the National Black Nurses Association?
Well, I think that the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses definitely sticks to its vision of they're committed to providing not only nursing care but also nursing education in the Black community. And over the years, I found that they work very hard at that. They do that in so many different ways. They involve themselves in the community. They involve themselves with students throughout the city of Cleveland and beyond if they are asked by other people who are outside of the city to help them with as they matriculate through the nursing programs. I think that one of the things that really endeared me to the Cleveland Council was when I was looking at one point in my career. Let me just back up for a minute. At one point in my career, I had stepped away. I was tired of being a nurse in a profession where I didn't see anybody that looked like me doing much in the terms of research and leadership and management. And I worked in one of the largest healthcare facilities here in the city, but I didn't see any of us doing anything. And I said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go into social work, something where I see us doing something for our people. And so I went and I got my Bachelor of Social Work, and I was ready to take off. And all of a sudden, I was introduced to the National Black Nurses Association, and I went to one of their conferences, and that was life-changing for me. When I saw all of those dynamic women who were doing the things that needed to be done to make nursing in our community great, I changed my mind, and I became so endeared not only to the council here in Cleveland, but also to the national work. And stand on the shoulders of such great people like Dr. Valerie George, Dr. Bradford, and others, and it just does my heart good when I know what we've done and where we're going. Kathy Roscoe Herbert and others, and so when I see that and I see how much we put into the nursing profession, I am every day glad that I found the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, or that the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses found me. Whichever way it was, it has been dynamic. It helped to bring out leadership skills, management skills. It helped me to elevate myself to a place where I didn't even think that I could go. But it has been great. So in terms of how I feel about what it is, and I think that we have been blessed beyond measure to have a president such as we have now, who can look beyond or be far beyond where we are now to where we can go. And I wish she could be our president for 2 or 3 more terms, but I know we have a term limit.
Well, thank you so much. We're happy to have you. As I mentioned, it is an honor to work with you and to see history right before us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Margaret Wilson Banks, and I've been a member of CCBN approximately 15 years. I'm a retired professor of nursing, pediatric nursing, and a nursing consultant. Sort of interesting how I was introduced to CCBN. I was teaching pediatric nursing, and one of the CCBN members came up to me and introduced herself, Alice Battle, who's, I would call her our emeritus member of CCBN. Alice came to me and said there's a student in my class that had failed the program twice and gotten back in, and she was trying to work with her, mentor her, and tutor her. And she said, could she come to class with the student? And I said, that's the first time anyone had ever asked me that. I said, sure, you can come to class. I loaned her some textbooks. And the student that she had, I thought, this CCBN member is not going to work because this student is not going to pass this course. This student had a lack of expression on her face. I almost called it a bovine expression. She looked like a sort of a dumb cow, and no expression. But Alice came in with her. They sat in the back of the auditorium, and pretty soon I noticed that the student was having more expression on her face. And by the end of the class, the student was sitting in the first row. You wouldn't have thought it was the same person. She was animated. She was starting to answer questions. And this student not only passed my class, she graduated from the program and passed the State Board of Nursing exam. First time, and became a very valuable member of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, and nursing, worked as a nurse. And that was my introduction. But after that, Alice and Ari, I think her name was Ari, was working with students, mentoring and tutoring, and I was always cooperative. And I met other members of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses. Our Director of Nursing, Dr. Johnny May Henderson, who was a very, very important person in nursing, encouraged me to develop my program. I became interested in working with the black students. They had such a high failure rate, and yet I knew some of them would make wonderful nurses. And I started investigating how can we help these students. And I developed a study method that I started developing and working with the students, perfecting the method. And Dr. Henderson, I hated to write, but Dr. Henderson, who was a wonderful writer, made me write a grant proposal to support getting a video of my study method so other people could use it. So that was another member of CCBN that I met. Then, as I worked more with students and continued my concern about the high failure rate, I started developing tools and strategies to help students. And ultimately, I developed a program called the Academic Success Strategy Program, where I taught nursing students, primarily black nursing students, how to study nursing, how to take tests, time management, and some of the academic skills that would help them be successful. And I had a course that I taught this with. It was very successful at Tri-C. And as a consultant, I taught it at Notre Dame. And when I retired, I became an active member of CCBN. And they put me on retention and recruitment committee. Of course, that's where my interest was. And again, I hooked up with Alice Battle. And we used my program as a basis for doing workshops that we offered throughout. We do that today. In fact, this is Saturday, just this Thursday, Alice, Queen Henderson, and myself, and Peter Jones, past president of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, did a workshop at Lorraine Community College on using the study method that I developed, the Steps to Success study method. And Queen and Peter Jones did test-taking techniques for nursing students. So we have continued offering workshops for area nursing students, but most of our workshops, we have more white students than we have black students. But we've been very successful in helping a number of black students graduate, teaching them to use the academic skills that are needed to pass the nursing course. And we have some wonderful members of Ccbn, of the Retention Recruitment Committee, that now do some of these workshops all in the greater Cleveland area. And we want to continue this work. And we think that we have been instrumental in helping a number of nursing students graduate and become functioning, valuable members of the nursing community. Matter of fact, our president, Stephanie, came to, as a student at Tri-C, came to the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, said she needed some help. And Dee Tolliver, who is the best nursing tutor I've ever seen, Dee Tolliver took her in the hand, mentored her, tutored her. She graduated from Tri-C, of course, passed her state boards, and she came back to us and said she wanted to join CCB and that we'd helped her so much that she wanted to give back, and she's now the president of Cleveland Council of Black Nurses. And I think it shows that if we can nourish our black students, they have a lot to give. And many of them are coming back and are continuing to give to new generations of black students, helping them get through the nursing program. Thank you.
My name is Geneva Rutledge Willis. I became a nurse many years ago. I joined CCBN in 1974 on a Sunday afternoon at Caramoo with Pauline Baker and I. I have been a member since '74. Why I became a member? Because the black nurses found in their working environment they were not able to be promoted to supervisors or to managerial position. It was very hard, and we had to come together to strategize how we're going to go through this business world and make ourselves visible. We were also noted to be, as black nurses, to be delegated to the afternoon or the night shift without promotion. And that precipitated my and Pauline Baker's idea of joining the CCBN organization. Since then, many complete things have done. We have done blood pressures for the community. We have done outreach. We have done the homeless. And we have also been very instrumental in doing our social organization as domestic violence, helping the kids along. We have also been interested, as Margaret has said, about educating the other black nurses and bringing them along as a procedure. That is why some of the reasons why I joined CCBN at an early age and early in my nursing career. Thanks so much.
My name is Alice Battle. I joined Cleveland Council of Black Nurses in 1973 after I graduated from nursing school. The positions I've held since I've been a member is Vice President, Corresponding Secretary, have acted as Recording Secretary, been a board member for several times. I've been chair of the Nominating Committee, Membership Committee, Recruitment and Retention Committee, Publicity and Public Relations Committee, And the different committees that I've worked on has been program, bylaws, hospitality, recruitment and retention, and health education and community services. I've also served CCBN as advisory committee member at Tri-C for their RN and their LPN program. The thing that I've been most passionate about has been the recruitment and retention committee. When Dr. Dorothy Bradford was division head of the Eastern Campus, she obtained an office for CCBN, and we adopted the LPN class, and we mentored and tutored LPNs and RN. So being right in the building where the LPN department was, our office was available to the students. So if they got in distress or upset about their grades or something had happened, we were right there available for them to come and vent. And we would guide them with wisdom about how to handle the conflict, and we would tutor them so that they could graduate. And I think when we started, the LPN had a lot of part-time instructors, but we helped the students so much that they hired some of those part-time instructors for full-time instructors. I have enjoyed being a member, been very active, and I usually help anybody any way I can.
My name is Rachel Freeman. I was the president of CCBN for 2 years, vice president for 4 years, and the recording secretary for 6 years. During my tenure as president, we won the chapter award from NBNA, our mother organization, for membership. During my tenure also, we were awarded an award from Sigma Theta Tau for our organization and the work that we were doing for health care and health education. Currently, I'm the chair of the Bylaws Committee. I was the chair for Legislative Committee. I was the Scholarship Chair for many years. Worked on the Hospitality Committee. Worked in health education and research. Whereas I do the elections when they're each year. Our organization received a greeting from Mayor White. My life was impacted when, as I was president, we had a membership drive, and we brought in many new members, and those members were divided using chairs, and the work that we did was recognized by the president of our national organization, and she gave us the first chapter award that we have received in Cleveland. My life was impacted by CCBN by taking on like a political stand for the nurses. At CCBN also received tickets from President Clinton, who at the time was running for president of the United States, and he gave tickets to the president, vice president, and board members. And we attended his inauguration and also his ball. During my tenure, I was the president when we had our anniversary. That was the 25th anniversary, and we gave out we gave out awards, and also we became more visible in the community from that. We also, doing bylaws committee, Alice Battle and Ari McIntyre were members for many, many years, and we kept up with what was going on in CCBN and made sure that the things that were supposed to be going on, we did, and we kept up with that. Looking at CCBN now and how it was for years ago when Alice and I came into the organization, which was 46 years ago, things have really changed. We have more active members. I think when I took over the presidency, we had about from 12 to 15 members. And we have many more members now, and they're active. The one thing that I needed to point out that many times that we met, we didn't have but maybe 7 or 8 members, but we still met and kept the organization moving. So as far as how CCBN has made an impact in my nursing career or my life, I have given many, many years to CCBN and would like to continue doing that. My big thing was working in the workshop that I presented, and that was the test-taking workshop, and that was to help the young girls that needed help so they could pass their exams. They were having a hard time. During that time, we did discuss with the students some of the things that they needed to know in order to hold their jobs, when to talk and when to be quiet, how to dress, and those things we brought out for the students. And we had as many, I think once it was about 40 students at that time that we were teaching and test taking, that I taught with my daughter. As far as contributing to the success and the progression of CCBN, I feel like being a member, helping the new members, giving as much of my experience that I have to some of the other members, to assist the president, to stay on the board as long as I can so I can help.
Okay, my name is Pearl Joan Dashiell. I think with the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, I have been known as P. Joan Dashiell. I joined the CCBN in the early 1970s. I remember I joined because there was a concern that was going on among, I think, black nurses that Forest City Hospital that was in the Glenville area was closing, and that the African American community would not have anybody to help them. I think it's something that is still a concern even today. One of the things I know is that I served as president from 1976 through 1978, and then I served again in the year 2000. I guess the thing that has carried on for the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses is that we are a unit, we are an association, and the thing there is, while we may have officers, we may have presidents, but we go on and have become, because of the membership, God has given each one of us a gift, and with the gift we know that the utilization of that gift will carry us on, and it has done that for so long. I can't even imagine that Cleveland Council of Black Nurses will ever dissolve, because as long as God is with us, who can be not? That is something that my mother has always taught me, and so I think we see that. If I can think about the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, one of the other things I do know is that there is such a thing known as majority rule, and that we all should have something that we can contribute to the Cleveland Council, and maybe you won't be in that majority rule, but eventually you can bring up whatever it is that you are thinking about, and that is, if that is true, how can we not have Cleveland Council of Black Nurses? It seems to me that one of the things that I see going on today went on before, and so we are still dealing with that, and that is something that I say, if not me, who? And if it's not me, I know that there's going to be somebody else that can step in and do that. I do remember that when Martin Luther King was here and he said that we need to work solidly as a group to improve the health needs of the African American community, and I do know that even today there are those of us that still look to home remedies rather than knowing that early diagnosis and treatment is the way to go. And early diagnosis and treatment is the fact that hypertension, stroke, and heart disease still is too high among our community, and we need to continue to do something about that. The only thing that I would like to say is that we always must trust in the Lord. And I do remember one of the things that kept the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses going has to do with the churches and all the places that we find the African American community, and that's in barbershops, that's in community centers, and we used to have health fairs where we would have large numbers of people. I appreciate the American Heart Association because they helped CCBN get where they are going. It's a wonderful thing. And I know that we will be who we are, because if God is with us, who can be against us? If there's something else that I could say, I'll tell you this. It may not be me, but it's always going to be somebody in terms of leadership that will come and do the things that need to be done. It's a great way to say, I am so happy that I became a member of CCBN. I will do anything in my teaching to help other students, not just members of CCBN, but to get other people to know the best way, or one of the best ways to get involved with community service is through CCBN. When we don't keep out, anybody is welcome to come. And one of the things I always liked is that students would come from all ranks. They would come from all nursing programs and still have something that they could give. And they gave it freely, and we accepted it freely. And like I say, we did it because of majority rule. I like the idea that we still have the Black Nurses Association, we still have, that we honor those that in the past and now in the future that are doing so many things. And we do need to have that to continue as much and as long as possible. I am thankful to be an African American. I am so glad to be able to reach out and tell others to love yourself. That love within yourself will give you the ability to love others. Right or wrong, for whatever they do, they can be loved. And that's how we go. We can't hate. We cannot hate, but we can love.
Good afternoon. My name is Ruby Randolph. I've been a member for, I really don't know how many years. It was back in the days that was on and off, but I've been a permanent member for a number of years and really enjoyed it. I worked in the recruitment and retention committee, or on it, I'll say. I also worked with, I was a membership chair for a while, and Alice was my co-chair, which she helped me a lot, her and her husband. Lastly, I work on the outreach team, and it's been very rewarding. Sometimes we have so many places that we've been requested to show up, churches, big events, and all of that, and we really enjoy it, or I have. We hand out health care folders, and we get a lot of, well, most of our instructions about your blood pressure, diets, and all of that. We get that from the Red Cross. So we have a very close partnership with them, and we have met a lot of people, different connections we're able to attach to by going to all these different places, and so that's helpful also, but they're always requesting our presence. I also mentored the Tri-C student nurses, whether it be RN or LPN, we would mentor them, and that was very rewarding. I was a delegate for the national 2 times. I really enjoyed that. It's a lot of fun when you go to the different states, and every year they have it in a different state, so you get exposure and lots of things to do in all the different states. That was the last thing, really. I'm also retired military, 24 years, and I'm retired lieutenant colonel. That was, I picked up a lot of different experience and exposure to different things, which I really enjoyed. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nancy Crawford, and I am a Ccbn member, Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, of course. I've been a member since approximately 2002, and I enjoy it very much. I am presently the recording secretary, and I've been recording secretary for about 3 of the presidents, actually. So besides being a recording secretary, I'm automatically on the board, which I enjoy. I am part of the program committee. I am on the scholarship committee. I'm the chair of that, and I have been for a number of years. I'm also part of the health education and community, that organization, and I have been on that committee also for a long time. And I was vice president for 1 year back, and I know it was in 2014. And now I joined. I was part of another organization, and it only had about 3 or 4 blacks in it. And I was trying to get someone to join that organization, and they asked me, well, was I part of my own? And then it was a wake-up call, and that's how I went to. That's how I came back to Ccbn, because I had been here before, quite a while ago, probably in the 1990s. But then after she said that, I said, well, I think it's about time I should, go back to my own organization, because I was a little ashamed. So I came to the organization, and I've been, here ever since, and I've loved it. I won a couple awards, the Merit Award in 2004 and 2014. And I'm just here to support my sisters, the CCBN, my young sisters, and to help them get into nursing and help them stay into nursing, and in the future too. And while they're doing it, and when they may decide to go on, they need our support. I needed support, and so I know they need support. It's really hard out there. Now I had never planned on going to college. I went to Kent State. I have my bachelor's from Kent State, and I also have a master's in nursing education from Kent State, and so that really helped me. And that's when I saw my first black squirrel. And but CCBN has taught me to speak up, and like it or not, I'm a role model. And I think this organization is an asset and a credit to Cleveland, an asset and a credit to nursing, and an asset and a credit to black nurses. We want to help the nursing students, and now CCBN cannot eliminate the difficulties the nursing students have, but we can encourage, we can foster, and we can participate in the learning process for these nursing students. And now I have been very involved, more so I think the scholarship committee, being the chair, and I really love it when I call someone or text them or email them, and they have money to buy another book or even just to start nursing school. And so they're very happy, and that makes me happy because maybe I'm helping another black nurse out there. And I think I'm a floor nurse, and I always have been, and I'm a proud one. And sometimes, I figure one day I'm going to be in the hospital, and I want to be somebody's favorite. So I'm trying to help them. And when I help them, it helps me too. It helps me feel better, and it helps my community, and it helps the United States.
Hello, my name is Queen Howard Henderson, and I am a very proud member of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses. I am honoring our president, Ms. Stephanie Doable, with my part in this taping because I don't see myself as a legend, but I have known about the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses for a very long time. I was a member in the 80s. I left in the 91, and I came back, I don't know, maybe 2008 or 9. But what happened for me is I began to get older. I realized that I wanted more than anything to leave a legacy. And I thought, what better legacy could I leave than to impart what wisdom that I had about nursing to somebody else. And that way I could continue to live on through them as they mentored somebody else. So that has been my passion and my drive for this organization, and that is to help another young nurse have a career in nursing, and in her lifetime pass that on to someone else. I also have a passion for this organization when I think about the shoulders of the women that we stand on that started this organization. And more than anything, I would love for this organization to continue to grow and to get stronger, so that legacy and the history of the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses will continue to live on forever. They have touched so many lives. So many nurses have been impacted by what the nurses in the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses have been able to impart to them. So if I could have one last thing to say, is that for the next one to take the torch and carry it on.
My name is Stephanie Doibo. I am the current president for the Cleveland Council of Black Nurses. I became a nurse in 2012, and this is actually the first year of my second term as being president. I became president in 2016, and my second term went in 2019. In 2012, I became a nurse. Before that, I was a nursing student. I was actually a struggling nursing student. As everybody knows, nursing school is very challenging. I used to take walks. I used to pray, and I used to say, Lord, if you want me to be a nurse, I'll be a nurse. And sure enough, while I'm going through nursing school and I'm not finding help from anybody, not from faculty, then I heard about a workshop that was taking place. It was a workshop about successful study methods and test-taking strategies. And so I attended this workshop, and here it was organized by Cleveland Council of Black Nurses. I saw Mrs. Tolliver, I saw Mrs. Freeman, I saw Mrs. Battle. I was so happy to find a professional black nursing organization. They embraced me, they provided tutoring, they mentored me, and I was just so grateful. And if it were not for CCBN, if it were not for Cleveland Council of Black Nurses, I would not be a nurse today. CCBN is a local chapter of the National Black Nurses Association. And here, right here in Cleveland, is where Cleveland gave birth to the National Black Nurses Association. There was a group of nurses who came together from different parts of the nation. And just like some other previous nurses have mentioned, we didn't have the opportunities that other nurses had. There were other nursing organizations, but we could not hold positions. And so here, this group of nurses, they came and Dr. Betty Williams, for example, she said she made a motion that a National Black Nurses Association be organized. And again, we do stand on their shoulders. It was over some fried chicken, if I'm not mistaken, that motion was made over. So we all should be grateful. So CCBN, they offered scholarships, and I applied for those scholarships, and I got some of those scholarships, and it really helped me financially to continue to pursue higher education. So then Mrs. Battle, she said, you know, you're applying for CCBN scholarships, which is nice, but the National Black Nurse Association has scholarships as well, and you should apply for those. And I heard her, but I didn't apply for them because I was thinking, I'm not going to get a scholarship on a national level. So she mentioned it again. And so I said, well, you know, what do I have to lose? So I applied for it, and sure enough, while I was working on my bachelor's degree in nursing, I got a $5,000 scholarship. I remember that phone call when Dr. Millicent Gorham called me from National. She said, you've been awarded a $5,000 scholarship, and I just burst into tears. I was very happy, very grateful. And then she said, well, are you coming to our national conference to receive that award? And I said, well, thank you for the award, but I cannot. You know, I'm working, I have kids. I just became a nurse. I really can't afford to go. So she said, okay. So CCBN said, you have to go. My mother said, you have to go. And I'm thinking, how? So I prayed about it, and every barrier, God just knocked down every barrier I could possibly think of. My husband, my mom said she would help my husband take care of the kids. So I said, okay. Found out from my job that they have 2 paid conference days, which I didn't know about. So I said, okay, so there's the job. And then there was a CCBN member, Mrs. D. Tolliver. She said, I'll sponsor you to go. And I said, what did you say? And she said, I will sponsor you to go. And so there was no reason, I had no reason not to go. And I said, must be some reason why God wants me to go to this conference, not just for this scholarship, it has to be something else. And sure enough, when I got there, I was just so motivated and encouraged because I saw all these nurses who looked like me, who were involved in the community, who were aspiring to do more, who were pursuing higher education. I just loved it. And nowhere else, no other conference have I ever attended where there was prayer before every event, prayer before business meetings. Absolutely loved it. So again, I'm so grateful. So every year I go to the conferences, or try to, and I also speak and give podium presentations. MBNA has helped me professionally. They've helped me with CVs and executive headshots, and I'm on national committees. So I love MBNA. I love CCBN. It is my hope that every African American nurse will become a member of this organization. we relate to each other on a different level. I mean, we share the same struggles and joys and experiences that only we can understand. And CCBN, we are here to support and encourage and assist nursing students. So I'm not only grateful to CCBN, but I'm also grateful to my family, my children, and my supportive husband for supporting me to be able to have this leadership role for CCBN. Because this role is just a little way in which I can give back to such an organization who has given so much to me. Thank you so much.